This land isn't just in your blood. It's under your fingernails and worn with pride. It's not a job. It's your livelihood. Here, overtime is all the time. But you wouldn't have it any other way. It's written into your DNA. It's what you thrive on. And while farming will never be easy, we can make it better. Introducing the Pioneer 100 series. Meaningfully different canola hybrids.
It's time for RealAg Radio on Rural Radio Channel 147 on Sirius XM. RealAg Radio and RealAgriculture.com is your home for insight and analysis of the issues that are impacting your farm business. Let's get real and get connected with RealAg Radio. Welcome to RealAg Radio here on Rural Radio 147, Sirius XM. Shaun Haney, your host here on this Thursday edition of the show. Thanks so much, everybody, for making RealAg Radio and Rural Radio 147 a big part of your workday. Of course, as well, as always, big shout out to everybody listening out there on the RealAg Radio podcast. And today is Thursday, like I mentioned. You know this because you're listening and you can read your watch, your phone, or your calendar. But we know this. It's the Farmer Rapid Fire every Thursday, which is brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada. It is great to have Pioneer aboard as our exclusive sponsor of the Farmer Rapid Fire. Really do appreciate it and their commitment to making sure that we're able to hear what's happening across the country. How are people making it on their farms, their ranches, in their barns, and really getting that insight. And here, Pioneer 100 Series canola. It is the highest yielding Pioneer brand canola hybrid ever. This isn't just better canola. Listen up, everybody. It's different canola. Contact your local Pioneer sales representative or visit pioneer.com/100 series to learn more. Okay, now, what we're going to do here today, here's the lineup. Okay, you ready for this? We got a great one. Lots of great friends of the program. Looking forward to it. We got Bruce Hill, who is out of Pakenham, Ontario. We got Korey Peters out of Randolph, Manitoba. Jeff Bennett is in Dodsland, Saskatchewan. Shaun Harty is in Foremost. And we've got Andrew Elgersma, who is out of Ontario. He is today's Pioneer agronomist that'll be joining us. So looking forward to that. Now, if you have any feedback, you can send me an email, shaney@realagriculture.com. You can also call the Real Ag feedback line, 855-776-6147. Let's start off this Farmer Rapid Fire this week in Pakenham, Ontario. We're talking to Bruce Hill. Hey, Bruce, how are we doing?
Good, Shaun. How are you?
Man, I'm doing pretty good. Hey, what's going on the farm this week?
This week it's busy. Pretty full pull to this week for sure. We're heavy in the wheat harvest, getting close to the end, and we got fungicide going on corn, and cattle doing what cattle do.
How are the winter wheat yields been?
Good. I'd say just a slight above, probably a little bit better than average. I asked this question the other day. What is average anymore? We've had a couple good years here in a row, and then we're a little less than that this year. And I asked kind of one of our agronomists, I said, what is average now? And we didn't really have an answer, but
nice.
It's to be determined, but I would say yes, they're just a little bit better than average.
Now, there are parts of Ontario that are kind of dry. You're not in one of them, are you?
No, we're just borderline. They were expecting maybe rain today, and we didn't get it. So kind of the long range, we look like we're going to turn into some very dry weather here. So, but we've been pretty green and lush up to this point. Yeah. And it's been spotty around us. There's definitely, don't have to drive too far where it is quite dry, but we're not as dry as Central Ontario.
What do you have? What other crops do you have?
Corn, soybeans, and we've got a fair number of acres of hay going. So
nice. And how does all that look?
It's been good. It's the hay crop this year was probably a little little bit light in the start on the first cut. Corn looks great. I'd say it was like about 5 days behind in the spring, and compared to the last few years, and but it looks pretty phenomenal right now. Just hoping to get a couple little rains to keep it rolling, and the beans I think look pretty good. I've been hearing they're a little spotty, but I think they look pretty strong.
Yeah, and of course those soybeans, we look to that August rain, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're right on that doorstep, and hopefully we can squeeze out a bit of rain like we did last year and finish them off strong.
Now, you mentioned you have cattle. Tell us about your cattle operation.
We milk 60 cows on the dairy side, and then we have about 70 plus beef cows running around on pasture right now. And it's been going good. The dairy's been ticking away, and the beef is. I know I've said it before on here when we've talked. It just keeps surprising all the time.
Oh, no kidding. Right? Like, if I think back to all the discussions I've had about what's going on in the cattle market here the past 2-3 years, like, for me personally, with how much concern there was about consumer spending and the economy in both Canada and the U.S., the consumers continue to step up and pay for beef at these prices, which I think in retrospect, it really surprises a lot of people.
It's shocking, yeah. No, I had kind of an example for us this week. We had some calves that were born probably January, February, and they were out on pasture, and we got asked if we were interested in selling them. So we ended up pulling them off pasture this week and selling them this week because the prices are just, well, it's unheard of, right? Like, they're just phenomenal. So yeah, that's it's just, as the weeks turn, you're just waiting for it to go the other direction, but ride the wave, I guess.
So as you look at your livestock part of your business right now, you're in beef and in dairy. Which one presents the better return on investment in this cycle?
I farm with my brother, and he's kind of runs the beef side, so he's going to tell you that the beef is way in the Holsteins. But it's interesting because with the cull cows being as strong as they are, the on the dairy side, the fresh market, like the fresh cow market, with the price of everything else, that price is not equaling what it should be on the ratio. If you understand what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
like I think the fresh cow market is just too, like, they're not following along. They're and there's still a need for milk. I mean, we've got incentives here in Ontario in the P5, and there's still a need for milk. So it's an interesting thing to pencil out. It's definitely both sides are definitely closer to 50-50 today than they were a couple of years ago. That's for sure.
Oh, no kidding. Like, right? Like, if you go back, I don't know, 6, 8, 10 years, it's looking a lot different than it does today. But with how much price appreciation we've seen in the beef side of the business, it's really hard to kind of figure out, like, a lot of times when times are good, you're like, oh, time to expand, right? There's signals here. But we've moved so fast, so far. I think if someone trying to enter or somebody trying to expand, it presents some real financial quagmires.
100%. I don't know how you expand in this market, because you got to be really disciplined, I guess, if you're wanting to expand. Waiting that, like, depending on what you're expanding with, if you're buying springing heifers as beef cows, you're waiting that whatever time period till the calf comes and it's ready to sell. You wonder when the downturn's going to hit, and is it going to hit before that calf makes it to market? So it's real tough to project.
Yeah. What's going on with the price of land right now in your area?
It had been steadily going up. I'm not sure, just kind of right at the moment, if it's kind of hit that next plateau and it's kind of staying there. I know the housing market's really flattened here, so I haven't really seen, right close to me, I haven't seen any land really for sale that I can think of since maybe early spring or last winter. But yeah, it definitely was rising up to that point, and I'm kind of thinking that maybe I'm thinking in my own interest that it holds, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned you farm with your brother. Any other family in the operation?
My nephew and my son are they both work off farm, but they definitely put in their hours on the farm as well. My son actually just left the field here with a load of straw, so he take it and the rest of the day off to help us move some straw. And my nephew definitely comes home and wrenches and drives combine, and definitely both of them are part of our operation. And the odd time we get a little bit of help, and actually my daughter is on. She just had a baby, so she's running around picking up parts and stuff for us too. So yeah, there's definitely feedback from both sides of the family.
That's pretty cool. But great opportunity to run a family business like that with multiple sides of a family. But I'm sure it also presents challenges, and you don't need to. I think we've all been there. It takes a lot of communication and trying to keep on the same page.
Oh yeah, no, it all. There's the challenges, but yeah, we try to do our best and make our best. We have our hands in a lot of different little things, and yeah, we do the best we can. But
yeah.
I think that's pretty universal around a lot of the family farms.
Oh, absolutely. Do you have regular kind of, I guess, operational or kind of some meetings to make sure that how do you keep everybody on the same page and make sure everybody feels like they've been heard? How do you do that?
I don't know whether I've found the correct answer for that. We try, but I'm sure there's always people thinking, "Oh, I didn't know that was happening," or "I didn't know this." So
yeah,
I don't think we're definitely not the ones to set the standard by any means. So, but we definitely try to make sure that communication's good. But
yep.
I wouldn't say that we're one that you'd want to set a standard by.
Well, you're probably doing better than I think you're being a little humble there. The reality is that I think everybody, it's a constant process, and you aspire to the best you can. Is it perfect? No, I don't think. Family business or not, leaders always try to aspire to do the best they can on that front. Hey, Bruce, to wrap up, curious, what do you think are some of the characteristics of the farmer of the future? What are those skills or the things that the farmer of the future really needs to be focused on to succeed here going forward? What are your thoughts? What comes to mind?
Well, obviously technology. I guess my son, who's 25, I really push him to learn as much as he can on stuff that I probably don't have a handle on, or stuff that's coming forward. And that's on the kind of the tech side. We have kind of embraced it somewhat, and I'm hoping that he kind of learns that end of it going forward. Maybe as it gets more complex, it seems all the time, and just with us with the cash crop and the cattle, you got the drones coming in and stuff like that. So I believe it's technology and the ability to look after or seek out what you need to keep it going. That seems to be where farming kind of seems to be going on the day-to-day side, and yeah, that's probably one of the main ones.
Yeah, great stuff. Well, hey, Bruce, all the best to you with the rest of harvest and with the livestock operation. Really appreciate you joining us here today on the Farmer Rapid Fire.
Great. Thanks, Shaun.
Awesome stuff. That is Bruce Hill, out of Ontario. We'll be right back on the Farmer Rapid Fire here on RealAg Radio, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada. Joining us right now is Mark Alberts. What do you do at BSF?
I'm on the Invigor Hybrid Canola marketing team based out of Calgary, Alberta, to really help bring the Invigor Hybrid lineup to market. The new hybrid, Invigor L355 PC, it's built for the mid to longer maturing growing zones, and it's going to have one of the strongest disease packages we've seen in the Invigor canola lineup so far, without sacrificing high yield potential and having all those things folks can rely on, like patented pod shatter reduction technology. We were talking a little bit about verticillium stripe and some of the other challenging diseases in Western Canada. Invigor L355 PC would have one of our top rankings in terms of verticillium stripe performance. Again, blackleg resistance, very strong standability and lodging resistance, and really going to be a winning hybrid in terms of the mid to long maturity zones for 2026. We don't want to have 100 of hybrids in the lineup, but having the right amount that can suit those different growing zone disease challenges in Western Canada is really important. And the hybrids really are built to be more suitable for that. So there's not just one that you can say is the best across Western Canada. We really have a lineup that's going to be suitable for all the different areas.
If you're involved in the agriculture industry, it's important to stay informed on all the latest issues affecting your business. At RealAgriculture.com, we offer fast, reliable news, information, and insights to help you keep on top of all of the latest in Canadian agriculture. Visit RealAgriculture.com and sign up for our free daily newsletter covering everything from news, agronomy, animal agriculture, and much more. Visit RealAgriculture.com/subscribe today.
Up next on the Farmer Rapid Fire here on RealAg Radio, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada. Let's go to Randolph, Manitoba. And we're talking to Korey Peters. Hey, Korey, how are we doing?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here.
Good. Hey, well, what's going on the farm this week? What are you up to?
I think everybody's kind of done camping, so we're starting to prep for harvest kind of real time. So we're probably, 2 to 3 weeks away from wheat, and we have a little bit of fall hybrid rye that we will probably get into maybe end of next week or probably just the start of the week after, I think.
Okay, how does that hybrid rye look?
It looks okay for us, yeah. It's our first time ever doing it, and we're pretty happy with it. So we had a really wet spring in 24, so we had some acres that we actually just didn't get seeded last year. So we threw something in fall instead, and we did 200 acres first time ever. I thought it looks pretty good.
Cool. Yeah. Is the plan to use it for feed for the hogs?
No, we marketed it through kind of who we bought it through. So I actually am not sure what their end use is for it, to be honest. But I know in Manitoba there are some people that also there is some like feed mills will take a little bit. It depends on the season, I think, on the price of a lot of the other grains if they'll use it or not. And then also some people will haul it to Gimli, so it'll end up in Seagram's rye or Crown Royal, I guess, too.
We've been hearing a lot about dryness in parts of Manitoba, particularly the Brandon area, on the past number of weeks here on the Farmer Rapid Fire. How are the conditions around you?
We are not. We got a decent rain in the last 2-3 weeks. We've had a couple inches spread out, which has really helped around home. There are patches of Manitoba that have received a little more early rain. And right around home, we definitely were always right on the cusp. Like, we were always getting really dry. Our corn would start to, get pretty pointy. And then all of a sudden we'd get a little shot of rain and it would just kind of hang on. I know as a whole, Manitoba was really dry. But there are pockets that are looking pretty good. But, I really feel for guys, especially like in the Interlake, like north of Winnipeg. There's some really bad areas too, I know.
Yeah. It's and of course, like we always say, everybody has their own definition of dryness. What is dry and Medicine Hat is different than, Randolph. But your production system is built for your expectation of normal, right?
Yeah, totally. You're right. And like for us, the one advantage we have discovered is we have very heavy clay soils. Like, everyone says they have heavy, and then I laugh, but they probably laugh when I say I have heavy too. But so we have. If you get a little bit of rain early on, the early crops, the wheat usually ends up being okay. So really around home, it's our corn that just struggled early. So it probably just, it'll be average. It'll be okay, but the wheat looks pretty good, and the canola, I mean, I think I don't really enjoy the smoke cover, but it probably didn't hurt during flowering time, and just to cool it off and get a few extra days of flowering.
How are things in the hog operation?
Pretty good. Yeah, I think the hog industry in Manitoba is having a good year now. It had a few rougher years, I think, and it seems to be coming out on the other end. So, yeah, things are pretty good right now. I actually just got back from a lunch. We just have lunch with our few employees here in summer, usually kind of right before we get busy. So, yeah, no, things are looking pretty good.
Yeah, and so when you say pretty good, it's from a margin perspective, or what's been pretty good about it?
Yeah. Margin perspective. I know we kind of are. We have a double-edged sword because I want crop prices high, but the higher the crop prices are, the more it costs to feed my pigs. So, I try to find a happy medium, I guess you would say. But I know that we're always keeping an eye on the border because so many piglets cross the border to the States like daily from Manitoba. So that is always just something on the back burner and concerned about it. But so far it's worked out. So hopefully the administration kind of realizes we need to both play nice in the sandbox when it comes to animals crossing the border. It's extremely important to the economy. So
on both sides of the border.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So is there anything that you can do to manage the risk of that border being thicker when it comes to the hog trade, or is it a kind of a wait and see?
I mean, I guess there's some, encourage, taking some of they were taking some of the, making it easier to go across provincial, which would help. But in the end, there's just so many piglets, especially, do cross the border into the States. So there really wouldn't be a place for all of them in Canada, I don't believe. I don't know the exact numbers, but yeah, it would, if they also shut the border down, that would not be nice for hog farmers in Manitoba. Yeah. There's not a whole lot you can do. It's kind of a wait and see, like you said. Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, too, would also have consequences for the U.S. hog industry as well. Like Manitoba is a really critical component of the supply chain.
For sure, yeah, and I mean, I think there's lots of variation in the pigs that cross. Like meeting different standards. Different states have maybe different regulations. I know of some piglets that are raised in Manitoba that then go to certain certain hog sites because they have a little bit different regulations, and they might end up in California where they meet different regulations for, square footage allotted per pig and all those regulations. So it can drastically affect it.
Was it you that I was talking to that was kind of was working towards being Prop 12 compliant? Were you and I having this discussion?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
I remember
this.
this.
A little convo about it.
Yeah.
So we do have some barns that are Prop 12 compliant, exactly. So they a company we work with, they also work with a few other companies, including Tyson and a few others, and so some of those pigs they meet the California Prop 12 standards. So if that were to be shut off, how many hog barns are in California? Maybe 5. Like all of a sudden it would be pretty hard to get the pork they're looking for in certain states. Yeah,
no doubt. From a farm management standpoint, I guess I'm curious about people's. I asked you about risk management, the border closure, but there's other risks as well. Do you going into planting or the beginning of the season? I think it was 68% of Canadian farmers felt that this year was going to be riskier than last year. I don't know how you would have answered that, but from a risk standpoint, do you still feel that this is 25 is proving to be a year full of a lot of risks to have to take care of?
Yes. I think I have farmed full time for about 15 years now, and I think every year is risky is something I'm learning.
Yeah.
But I think there are certain things you can do, to help mitigate it. I was in a few meetings this winter, and just looking back really on Trump's administration in his first term, and kind of, how things played out in Canada when it came to just grain prices. And so a lot of people seem to think that it's going to kind of maybe follow suit as it did last time, meaning there might not be crazy highs or lows. It just kind of stays in a little bubble. So, that's kind of what we're thinking when it comes to grain pricing, which is obviously a huge issue for us. So just kind of having that understanding of, we think it's going to do this for the next, about 3 more years, let's say, and what we think the prices are going to do. So we're kind of going on that. So maybe not waiting for the high highs, because we don't really think they're going to come right now, minus, some huge corn failure in the States or, soybean failure in Brazil, let's say. But I think it's just kind of going to stay in the middle with prices. So we're kind of assuming that is how we're playing the game right now.
Yeah. Well, I was having a conversation this morning about this with somebody, and I asked the question, okay, so if we think farming's getting riskier, it's kind of a perception. Like, when was farming not risky?
That's a very good point. Yeah. I think, everyone always thinks the generation before them had it easier. I'm in my 40s now, so, I always think, oh, my dad had it easier. And I think, the 4th generation on my farm that's already here now, they think I had it easier. And, I think that's just the way it goes, right?
Yeah.
So, and nothing gets cheaper, right? But somehow farms still keep progressing and growing, and margins get tighter. I don't think there's any denying that, but I think farmers are also getting better at using their pencils. So
no
I
doubt,
think that's something a lot of farms have really started to do, right? It's you have to spend a little bit more time in the office and a little less time, sitting on the grain cart. You can have hire that job, and you might be financially ahead, right?
Well put. Hey, to wrap up here, I just wanted to ask you a question about the farmer of the future. From your perspective, what are some of the characteristics and skills that the farmer of the future really needs to have, considering how the industry is shifting and changing?
HR and business. That would be my 2 things. I think, if you want to do agronomy as well, but I think a lot of people hire a really good agronomist, and you can hire for anything you want. But I think HR, if you are running a farm, I think that's extremely important. And, you need more. It seems like farms, as you maybe get bigger or you keep expanding a bit, and maybe there's less and less family members, but, I think it's so important, people learning to work with staff, and whether it's just seasonal staff or full-time staff, I really think that is important.
Well put. Hey, Korey, thanks so much for joining us here today on the Farmer Rapid Fire on RealAg Radio.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Hey, we've got more coming up here. Next, we're going to Saskatchewan. You're listening to RealAg Radio, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada.
The new Brand XT grain cart delivers unmatched forward auger reach, side auger reach, and discharge spout clearance for easy positioning, with sight lines that allow you to actually see what you're doing while you're doing it, saving you time with each load and getting you back to the combine sooner. They say hindsight is 20/20. We say seeing what's in front of you is better. Lead the field with the new XT grain cart from Brand.
The Canola School on RealAgriculture.com is a video series that showcases the latest in canola research and production agronomy. Learn from some of the best at your own pace through quick and timely producer-focused videos available on our YouTube channel. The Canola School on RealAgriculture.com is the quickest way to keep up to date on all the latest in canola production. Boost your canola IQ with the Canola School, brought to you by BASF, and visit canolaschool.com.
The Pulse School on RealAgriculture.com has everything you need to get your crop off to a great start and a strong finish. Whether you're growing chickpeas, faba beans, lentils, or peas, you'll get all the latest and best agronomic information at PulseSchool.com. A library of top-notch agronomy videos from industry experts available on demand at your fingertips. Visit the Pulse School, brought to you by BASF on RealAgriculture.com.
We'll continue our trip across the country with the Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada. And next, let's go to Dodsland, Saskatchewan. We're talking to Jeff Bennett. Jeff, how are we doing?
Well, we're doing good. How are you?
Pretty good. How are those crops looking?
Well, I can say for the first time in half a decade that they look good.
That is great, because your area has had some punishing times as of late from a Mother Nature perspective. I've been kind of following some of the weather patterns here through the growing season, of course, and you've had some rain this year, which really helps.
Well, I think we're praying to the right gods now, I guess. I don't know, the last few years we'd had, crop insurance was my number one crop for the first 3 out of 4, and then last year was just sort of a crop that could have been and never was. And then this year, touch wood, we're doing good. We're sitting at about 10 or 12 inches of rain across the farm, and yeah, we had the crop sit there. We got it in good time, and it sat there for 2 weeks because it was a bit cold and a bit hot, and then we got rain, and we haven't had a day over 30 yet. So I don't know. I dare say we're doing well.
That is great that is really great to hear. What's in the crop mix this year?
It's a bit of a mixed bag. We've got canola, canary seed. So last year I was just canola and wheat, and at the last couple fields I was ready to put it all into chickpeas or canary seed. I was sick of dealing with just protein on the wheat, so we went heavy on the canary seed this year and kept with the canola. And then I got a call in, I guess it was April, from a company down by Avonlea, and I'm growing fenugreek this year on not quite a third of the acres, and it's been fun to grow.
What are you growing?
Fenugreek. It's
what is that?
It's pulse. It's a legume. It fixes its own nitrogen anyway, so yeah. We're trying to replace lentils, and it's weird. The neighbors have grown some great lentil crops this year, so I haven't grown lentils in about 3 years, and always sort of looking for something different. And this is one of my dad's old university buddies that works or owns a company down there, so we're part of a company down there, and got a call and made a few other calls to fertilizer companies and seed companies I was buying from, and wondered if I could reduce some of the tons I was buying or acres I was buying, and they said yeah. So we went heavy in. We got 3 halves of fenugreek in this year.
Wow. And what's been kind of the biggest learning experience trying to grow something that's a new crop to your farm?
Well, the weirdest thing about it for me is that it fixes its own nitrogen, so we put an inoculant with it, but it's really susceptible to the immobilization. It's on wheat stubble, and you can see anywhere where there was a tire track. But the nodules are healthy on the parts that are a little bit yellowed or less green. So it's just, I think I'm going to have to put a bit more nitrogen with the crop than what I did. And I don't know. It smells like maple syrup. That's the most interesting thing about it so far. It smells like maple syrup. The pods smell like maple syrup. The seed smells like maple syrup. You get a wind blowing across, and you're in the farm in the field across the way, and it smells like maple syrup in the yard.
Well, better than hog manure.
That's true. But here, there is a hog barn to the east of here, and if we smell that, it means it's going to rain. So that was the old thing Dad said.
Ah, interesting. That's like one of those local pieces of knowledge.
It's basic lore.
Basic lore. Now, as we move into August here at the end of this week and into next week, what does kind of the outlook look like here? You got how far till you're going to have a combine in the field?
Probably not till September, maybe end of August. I plan on having the canary and the canola hopefully desiccated by the end of August. So we're not doing too bad, but we had some hail rip. I think the one thing with the canary, basically every single field that I had hail across half of it of canary. And then I've got one half canola, but literally every single half or every single field I had a strip of hail through it. So I was going to have to wait for some of that stuff to have regrown. It's not too bad.
Yeah.
Just good timing when it hit, I guess, or fortunate timing when it hit.
Well, dude, we've had some awful hail through the Lethbridge area. Terrible.
Yeah. That's it's just a heartbreaking piece of Mother Nature.
Yeah. For your area typically, and you never kind of feel like you're out of it, but what does that hail window typically look like for Dodsland outside of Kindersley?
Yeah, like now.
Okay.
We're probably a bit. We have had hail in August before, but typically if you get through July, you're pretty much through it. So there's a little bit of rain forecasted for next week, I think, like almost a half an inch on one day and just a few spits here and there between, but no thunderstorms. So hopefully we can get the green combine in the field and not the white one.
Yes, exactly, my friend, exactly. So you have a decent crop as of right now. We still got to get in the bin. We still got to get it harvested so we don't get too far ahead of ourselves. But have you marketed any of that crop or are you waiting?
No, I've been caught in my 10, 11 years of farming. I've made a lot of mistakes. And one of them has been overselling and then having a disaster. So I've waited until I did a little bit I had a really good basis booked on my canola, and I did a futures side of it here last week. And then literally just yesterday or day before yesterday, I did a little bit of canary seed. The fenugreek was it's sort of a closed loop system, so it's all priced. But it won't move until the new year probably. So I got a little bit of movement, hopefully off the combine for whatever comes off first.
Okay. That's I think there's a lot of people, specifically in the more traditional dry spot, or drier areas, like 2021. It's gonna haunt people for a while, I think. Hey.
Yeah, I mean, I just made the mistake. It's my own fault. But I'm going to have a real hard time really doing anything until it's essentially almost mature. I don't even believe in that you can for sure grow this amount of bushels of that crop in this area anymore, because I've done worse. So it's, yeah, I mean, that was back in my social media days a little bit, but the grain companies were sort of in the side that, well, you're going to have to forward price, and you know what? You really don't. So they can worry about it. I've written too many checks to elevators and not hauled a bit of grain there since, or tried not to anyway. So it's we got stung with a bad one in a very formidable type maturity for me anyway. Mm-hmm. So those things I tell my kids, and they can prove me wrong later.
Nice. Hey, wanted to ask you, you've had trials and tribulations like every farm does. If you're talking to the younger generation, the farmer of the future, what are some of the skills or capabilities that they need to have to farm in today's farming environment?
I'm not sure. I mean, there's definitely a changing of what a farmer means, I think. I mean, there's definitely this is not something I necessarily subscribe to on a complete analogy front, but it's been said before that you need to be the CEO of your farm, and I agree with that. But you need to also realize that you're paying other people a lot of money to do things you can probably do yourself. And I'm going to speak out of the other side of my mouth and say, on the one front, you probably don't need to have as many advisors as what you're being told. But on the other front, there's a lot of value in some of the things that other people can offer and other experiences. I think there is high value in figuring things out for yourself, and that's probably where I'm at right now. Is not that what I was told or what I did or what I saw was wrong by any means, but farming comes in cycles, just like weather, and you need to be able to weather the bad ones to be able to get through to the good ones, and it's also a bit like golf. You can be horrible like me at golf, then you get that one shot and you're like, man, I love this game.
Yeah, I've never heard that analogy, but you know what? I think you pretty much summed it up, Jeff, correctly.
You can use it if you want. You don't even have to say.
Oh no, I'm crediting you going forward for sure. Hey, Jeff, all the best to you. Really appreciate you joining us here today, and bring that crop home, okay?
You bet. Thanks, buddy.
Awesome stuff. We'll be back with more of the Farmer Rapid Fire here on RealAg Radio, Rural Radio 147, Sirius XM, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada. I get to spend every day talking to farmers in the ag industry through RealAgriculture.com and RealAg Radio. But nothing is more fun than speaking to an audience live and in person. If you're planning an ag event, book a Real Agriculture speaker to make it a successful and memorable experience. Email shaney@realagriculture.com and you can book myself or any other Real Ag personality to speak at your event. Bring your audience all the fun, insight, and energy of Real Agriculture.
Peter Johnson at Wheat Peak, RealAgriculture.com. I'm the host of The Word, and I love doing The Word. I love the questions. I love the challenges. I love having to apply agronomics to all over the globe and areas outside of my normal jurisdiction. Also, I love the feedback the most, where growers challenge me, tell me about their plot results, help me to learn. The Word, absolutely the best part of my day.
Let's keep rocking here in the Farmer Rapid Fire. Let's go into Foremost, Alberta, and we're talking to Shaun Harty. Hey, Shaun, how are we doing?
Good, Shaun. How are you?
Well, I think I owe you an apology. I probably should have said Excom. I feel like I may have. Have I offended you?
No, they both work. You bet.
How are the crops looking?
Oh, it's the tale of two cities down here. I'll tell you, it's a crazy. It's been a crazy year, which I'm sure you've been told before.
Yeah. Well, did you get any hail?
I didn't, no, but south of us got a pretty good hailstorm, down along the 501 there.
Yep.
But we got out real nice and early this spring, and I was really happy, got the durum in first week April, not all of it, but some of it, and got a good start. And then we had some rains and a little bit of snow and stuff and slowed us down. And it's amazing the stuff we seeded before the stoppage is, 15 to 20 probably it's going to run, and the stuff after might hit 40.
Oh, so later's better.
Way better, yeah. We were so dry in May that that early seeded crop just really took a beating, and it's crazy. At seeding time, I wished I'd had more in when the first storm hit, and now I'm darn glad that we didn't, because we've had probably 3.5 inches of rain here in July, and end of June we got about 1 8/8 inches, and it's crazy how it just totally changed. The season totally flipped on us.
Now, okay, so there's another important component of this, and on most years, later seeded crops in your area don't do well because we have that extreme July heat, right? And so we try to get ahead of that. We have not had that heat this year.
No, not at all. It's quite the opposite, really. Like June and July seem like they've flipped roles, right? Like it just really is opposite. This is usually what our June is like with this kind of moisture and weather pattern, right? And yeah, you're right. That's why I wanted it in early, especially the durum on lentil stubble. I thought, get a good start on it, get a good jump on it, and it seeded beautiful and came up nice. And early on was our nicest crop by a mile. And then now this, in 1st of August coming up on here, it is crazy how the rains hit these crops. It really is.
Mm. So what do you all have for crops right now?
We have winter wheat. We have barley, feed barley, green lentils, yellow mustard, and durum.
Okay, which of those looks the best?
The second group of durum and the second group of lentils and the mustard and the barley look the best.
Wow. Okay, so we don't have the crop in the bin. That we were just talking to Jeff Bennett from Dodsland about this. Crop looks great. Don't want to get ahead of ourselves. We still have some days and some weeks left before we have it all in the bin. We'll feel much better when it's in the bin.
Yes, absolutely, for sure. Yeah, there's a lot of variables to come here yet. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and right now, I think if you look at some of those, well, Lethbridge got a bad hailstorm. Cardston, right up against the Montana border, really got hammered by hail here this past week. That's really kind of top of mind right now, are these hailstorms.
It is, for sure. Now, I'm going to sound like a real farmer here. I actually, 2 days ago, my brother and I put more hail insurance on.
Attaboy. That means it's not going to hail. That's
right. I think that's everybody's safe now. Yeah, I bought more hail insurance. Yeah.
I can remember one year where, you get busy, right? And you get doing stuff. In my mind, I had taken out some more hail insurance. And my dad and I had the conversation. Make sure you add a little bit more of that hail insurance. We got a good crop on that dryland. And so in my mind, I had done it. And then you hit like that stark sort of like realization of, I didn't.
Yeah.
And so then I did that afternoon. But as you know, you got to wait a day. And so the stress that night, and I said to my dad, oh yeah, I got the hail insurance. Don't worry about it. The stress on me that night about whether or not it was going to hail. Oh my goodness gracious.
Oh, totally. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Usually that's what it hits too, is the day it's not quite kicked in or something like that. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. Were you able to check out any of the Calgary Stampede this year?
No, we didn't go to the Stampede this year. No, we did a little camping a little bit, and we got away some. Did some things with my wife's family and stuff, and I think that's important. Yeah, we did some of that, and now we're probably going to be coal mining next week, I think. So
it begins.
Kind of trying to get everything in place, and I thought the augers and trucks were in better shape when we put them away, but apparently I was wrong there too. But
see, it's sort of the same thing as my hail insurance. You're like, I could have sworn I did a better job here.
I thought that was a good,
Okay, so last time we chatted, you and I, we were talking about fishing. Have you been doing any fishing here this summer?
I have, actually, yes.
Good for you.
Just on local lakes and stuff, but yeah, for sure.
Yeah?
You bet.
Okay, didn't you buy a kayak for fishing?
You got a good memory, yeah. And if people saw me, they would think that guy rides in a kayak. But yeah, I do. I have a kayak, and I fish in it. And I've done that this summer here. I got some pretty good walleye on 40 Mile there, and been having a pretty good summer here with it. Yeah.
Yeah, and if everybody, a lot of the audience is going to know what Shaun Harty looks like, but just
that's right.
Imagine a professional steer wrestler. That's what Shaun Harty looks like.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Now imagine that in a kayak.
Yeah, exactly. That's good. Yeah, nice. So you like, how has the machinery run through the season here?
It's been good. Yeah, we've had pretty good luck with everything. Yeah, seeding went really well. My middle son came home this year to farm, and he's been a big help. And our regular crew is fantastic. And we've had a pretty good. It's just Mother Nature, I think everything we could control, we tried to, and the machinery was ready to go, and everything ran good, and just conditions. But I was happy with everything machinery wise. And Jared, he worked at Western Tractor there for a little while, and as a mechanic, and that helped him coming home and a little bit of hands-on experience, and so it's been good for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to have him around, isn't it? Like to help out it. Yeah, especially as they get older, you're sort of like, there's probably some pretty proud moments. You see the family grow up and do some stuff off the farm, but also come back to help out as well. Yeah,
for sure. It changes things, that's for sure. You betcha. Yeah, for the better. Yeah.
They grow fast.
Oh man, they do. Yeah. They come home with ideas. You know how that goes. And
yeah, exactly. You send them away to get an education. They come back with all these ideas. Like,
That's right. Yeah.
No. I sent you to school to just get that piece of paper, drink some beer, and have some fun. I'm still running this place. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Wanted to ask you before we wrap up here. I've been asking all the farmers this week about the farmer of the future. What are some of the skills and characteristics that the farmer of the future needs to survive in today's farming environment? What comes to mind?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, I honestly, I think flexibility.
Okay.
And by that I mean being able to pivot, seamlessly almost. Like things change so quickly now, and we have such good access to information and stuff. I just think if you're rigid in your ways I think you're in trouble. I think you got to have flexibility and be prepared to change acres or change machinery, or don't be scared to have flexibility, right?
Yeah, that's I think so. I am not meaning whether or not you can touch your toes, but it's that business strategy, operationally and strategically.
Right,
yeah, for sure. That makes a lot of sense to me, especially with how dynamic the environment is. Things are always changing. There's new things, there's new opportunities, and it's like this balance, Shaun, of being like committed to what you're good at, but also be open-minded and curious about other ways that's a fine balance.
It is, yeah. And I think it's more important now than it was even 15 years ago, right? Like you got to be on top of things and open-minded and not close your mind. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, hey, all the best to you as you get this crop in the bin, as you start rolling those combines here in early August, and we'll talk to you again soon, okay?
Thanks, Shaun. You bet.
We'll be back with more on the Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada, right after this. Built on over 100 years of seed innovation and unwavering commitment to farmers, Pioneer 100 Series canola hybrids deliver a step change in yield performance and agronomic traits. This isn't just better canola, it's different canola. Pioneer 100 Series. Contact your local Pioneer sales representative or visit pioneer.com/100 series to learn more today.
It's summertime, and you've got a lot of important decisions to make when it comes to your corn crop. Let the Corn School on RealAgriculture.com help guide you through those big decisions with input from leading experts in the field. If it's spray timing, disease identification, or any other field issue, the Corn School's got you covered. The Corn School on RealAgriculture.com, brought to you by BASF and Pride Seeds.
Welcome back to RealAg Radio here on Rural Radio 147, Sirius XM. Today's Farmer Rapid Fire is brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada. And speaking of Pioneer Seeds Canada, we're joined right now by Pioneer agronomist Andrew Elgersma. How are we doing today, Andrew?
We're doing well, thanks.
Okay, so hey, Andrew, where are you based?
So I'm based just north of Guelph, Ontario, and I cover primarily Waterloo and Wellington counties, going out to the extremities a little bit into Dufferin and kind of south of Hamilton as well. So,
how are crops looking?
Overall, we're in pretty good shape. We've got certainly a lot of different soil types here. We had, I'd say, what was a good spring to get the crop in, but at the same time, definitely had some cooler, wetter periods come throughout as well. And overall, the crop has done very well. Not a lot of replants. We did have a few early on. And throughout much of the month of June and July, the heat has really turned up and helped to get that crop advanced to the point we would expect it to be. And have had some timely rains recently as well to help carry us through. So we're in pretty good shape overall.
Yeah, I'm sure as you're talking to a lot of your customers, conversations about tar spot, given the time of the year, is definitely one of the big topics.
For sure it is. We certainly saw a lot more infection last year, especially more into the south and western parts of my territory, reaching into even Oxford County to the extreme west of my territory. And certainly we saw its effects. We saw hybrid differences as well in terms of their tolerance to it. And so really growers have two main management points of defense, which is really fungicide and hybrid selection. So in any case, we always say it's good to continuously scout. It's good to see if we're finding it in the lower canopy. With the weather we've had, we've certainly had enough moisture. It has been hotter than maybe we would have seen here at this point last year, but we're going to see some cooler periods, or see the weather at least cool down a few degrees getting into next week. So certainly the risk is there. And we are encouraging customers who have good yield potential to protect that crop with a fungicide.
Yeah. Well, I guess you said the infection's less than last year. What's been the reason for that?
Yeah, I think, you never quite know exactly. We certainly know there should be more inoculum in the soil, given the infection levels we did see, where in the past we might have relied more on wind movement moving up from some of the western or southern states that we saw. So, certainly there are territories west of me, getting into that area, south of London or even north of London in some parts that we've seen be real hot spots for its development. And as it moves east, maybe don't see quite the same level of infection, but certainly it was very widespread throughout much of the province of Ontario, maybe excluding the Ottawa Valley last year. So it's yet to be seen. I mean, you can't always predict what's going to be here year to year, especially given the environment is never exactly the same. But that's just some theory I have right now. Certainly, I know talking to our product agronomists, they can find it most days, living a bit further west and south of me. And so we're on the lookout for it here in Waterloo, Wellington. I was in some corn earlier this morning, and we did not find it there yet. But we are certainly preparing for it and talking to customers about the threat that it can be. So.
Yeah. And so something we've been hearing about this year out of the Midwest is something called tassel wrap. And this is something, again, we don't hear about quite frankly, I had never heard of it before. What is it, or are we seeing it in Canada?
Yeah, so certainly that has been a little bit easier to spot for me this year. It is really having that tassel left in the top whorl of the corn plant. And so when you go into a field, you'll often see the tassel is now poking out, the silks are out, the corn is pollinating. And what we've seen happen this year a little bit more so is that in some cases, we are seeing that tassel still in the whorl, and it's not quite able to shed as much pollen as a result. We've seen a lot of pictures on social media in the U.S. that sometimes pollination has been a concern in the Corn Belt, but I would say we don't want to get too anxious about what may or may not happen yet here, because this is not the first time we've seen this. Typically, if we see a tassel with fewer spikes, they can be a bit more prone to that. But there are a lot of pollen grains that come out of a tassel. I think I read recently it could be up to 5 million and 600 to 1,000 ovules per ear. So, I don't want growers to get too concerned about it yet, but it is something for us to just look out for in our crops and continue to evaluate. There really isn't anything we can do to overcome or manage that right now. And I would just say that the one thing we really want to just focus on at this point is knowing that we have seen this before, maybe not to this extent, and it's probably being caused by some rapid growth coming with the moisture we had, followed by some pretty high temperatures for a sustained period, and that has just really accelerated that crop's development and had it create that abnormality.
The one thing is with farming, there's always a new challenge on the horizon to keep you on your toes. And this year is no different. Andrew, thanks a lot for joining us here today on the Farmer Rapid Fire here on RealAg Radio.
All right. Thanks a lot, Shaun.
If you have any feedback on today's show, we'd love to hear from you. Send me an email, shaney@realagriculture.com, or of course, call that RealAg feedback line, 855-776-6147. Remember, Pioneer 100 series, the highest yielding Pioneer brand canola hybrids ever. This isn't just better canola, it's different canola. Contact your local Pioneer sales representative or visit pioneer.com/100 series to learn more. Thanks everybody for getting real and getting connected with RealAg Radio, and we'll of course chat again tomorrow. Cheers, everybody.